So about 3 months ago now, I came across reference to this revolving tool station, and I've tracked down the plans in a woodworking magazine which is called Shop Notes. And you can see from the illustration that there's a base, and underneath the base there's a rotating turntable where you can store all of your electric drills and everything in there. Then on top there's a carousel which also revolves, and then on the carousel you can have at least 4 different woodworking machines. There's a drill press and a sander and a jigsaw and so on. And so because, I'll just take you a bit closer in there, and under each tool there's a drawer. So I eventually got the plans, which are in a fair amount of detail. You can see dimensions and all that sort of thing, and it takes you through step by step the construction of this tool station. So eventually I decided, because I've got so little space in this workshop of mine, I thought what I would do is build something which is a real space saver. It only takes up about a square meter, and some of you might have seen that I've already completed the base. And at the moment I'm finishing off the turntable here where I had the notes I was talking to you about. I'm finishing off the turntable. You can see I've just fixed the edging there, and that will soon go in. And so I'm going to talk you through the process of construction and tell you about some of the problems I've had. The first one is, of course, the guy that wrote those very detailed instructions probably had a table saw, a drill press and all the fancy gear. I've only got a handheld jigsaw, and I don't have I have hand drills, of course, but getting a drill hole perfectly vertical is not an easy matter with a handheld drill. And so the consequences of that are that you really struggle to get everything perfectly finished and edged. The second problem that I've had is that, as you can see with this here, this material has MDF, and it's an inch thick. I don't know if you can see that from this range. It's an inch thick, and he calls for 3/4 inch. But there's a major problem in terms of converting from American plans to metric, is that they're all in inches and 3/4 and 1/8 and 1/16 of inches, and we're all in millimeters, and I couldn't find the equivalent of 3/4 inch MDF. The closest I could get to 3/4 inch was an inch. And so these boards are ferociously heavy and bulky. And subsequently I've made the turntable out of the same inch thick, and you can see it has a little edging on it here to stop the tools from falling off when it rotates. These are the collar blocks where the pole will go in. You can see the vertical pole that goes down the center of the whole thing, and both the turntable and the carousel, actually that's the axis about which they turn. And so what I've decided now, I've just bought the wood for the carousel, and here are the 2 round carousel top and bottom, and over here, I'll just grab one, are the spaces that go in between, and there'll be 4 of those in between those 2 flat discs, and within that the drawers are made. So that's where I am now. I'll keep you up to date as we go. I've just finished the lower turntable, and I put there's a bolt here which locks it in place. So you shift the bolt out of the way, and then you can rotate it. You have tools stored at the back. You roll it round and get your tools. The only surprising thing is the noise. It's pretty loud. So you can lock it in place so it doesn't shift around by just doing that. It's locked in place. About to spray paint the turntable that goes in underneath to store the tools. This is white primer, but I better hurry because the southern horizon is dark blue with rain. Well, there it is, and I ran out of paint, so it's a very thin coat of green, but it doesn't matter. Now I'm just hoping that it can dry enough before that weather arrives. Okay, so I suppose I should give you the date. It's the 30th of June. It's the last day of June. You remember I've got the base now, and I've done the turntable for the base, and now I'm working on the carousel, and these are the two sides of the carousel, the top and the bottom, and they will then rotate. You can see they're rather noisy, but that's how it's going to work. So you'll have the different tools on here, and rotate them into place when you're going to work on them from there where your feet go. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to mark out the screw holes for this, which goes in between the two discs, like that. So these are going to be marked out on here, and then the drawers go into the four corners or four sides, and then this is where you can put your screwdrivers and things when you work. So what I'm going to do is square this up now and trace it out on here, and then drill through both of these, so I've got drill holes marked in the right spot to pin this between, to sandwich it between the two discs. So cross fingers, you know. I was really pleased the way that this came out. Well, here it is. Remember I showed you before that I was going to put this in between the two discs. There's always an element of fear when you do something that's so complex, you know, you worry. And I did have a few moments of panic, but finally got the carousel in place. And this is unfortunately the worst part of it. It's the noise. Listen to this. It's pretty noisy. So the idea is that you will have a tool, like say a drill press in position there, and then under there I still have to build drawers that go in there. And on either side there are little shells where you can put things that you're using, screwdrivers and things like that. And then you'll have your drill press, and then maybe here you'll have a belt sander. Move your belt sander into place, so you can have four tools in a very small space. And that's the idea. The next thing I have to do is I'm going to thread a power board down the middle. There's this piece of tubing that runs all the way down the middle and provides the axis for the turning. So I'm going to thread this all the way down through the hole, and then I've made a hole at the back so that I can pull it through and have it come up to the plug. So when you're turning the tools around, you don't have to worry about replugging and everything. I'll have a power board mounted here in the middle. So that's where I am. So the next stage now is I have to make the drawers to go in here, and it looks like a fairly tricky thing. I've never made a drawer before, so I'll follow the instructions. So that's the next stage. So I'm kind of relieved. I was a bit worried that this might all just go horribly wrong, but it all worked out pretty well, fortunately. I'm up to the stage now where I'm making the drawers to go into the carousel, and I've just mocked one up here. These are the sides of the drawers, which are unusual shape. That enables you to, when you want to take the drawer out, because there's a stopper, you can tilt the drawer up and then take it out. So I'm just clamped it in place, and I'm planning how to fix the drawers in place. So that's the next step. 4 of these drawers with handles, which will go into the carousel. So that's the next phase. So today is the 5th of July 2017, and I finished the 4 drawers which go into the 4 sides of the carousel, one for each tool. So you can keep drills or whatever you need for that particular tool, which is mounted up here in the little drawer below. And the drawers are, I couldn't follow the instructions in the thing, so I've just gone with the glue and screw method. So you can see they're screwed to death with little bits of wood glued inside, but they're pretty solid. I'm pretty happy with them. One of the things that was quite tricky was I had to put a stopper on the inside of the drawer to stop the drawer from falling out when you pull it out. So that's a little block screwed in there, and the drill doesn't fit in there, neither does the screwdriver, so that was a bit tricky. Anyway, those are also well glued and screwed. So to get the drawer in, you have to actually tip it up to get it beyond that, and then you slide it in, and then to get it out, it stops it from coming all the way out. And now I'm on the, well, I can just finish with the drawers by saying I'm now on the pleasant task of putting handles on the drawers. So I've just put the first handle onto the drawer, and I'm quite pleased with it because this curve of the handle mirrors the curve of the carousel. So now that's a drawer in functional state. Goes in like that, slides in, and then comes out, and the stopper stops it from falling out. So I'm really pleased with that. So put the handles on. Last night I put the collar block on here, and there's the power cord which runs down the central column, and so that when you turn into the next tool, you don't have to unplug the particular tool and replug the next one into there. It all goes around in a circle with that, and that electric cord comes out of the base there and will have a plug on it and go up to the wall plug there. And the next thing now is to clean it all up with sandpaper, make it nice and smooth, edges of drawers and things like that, and then give it a coat. The whole carousel's got to get a coat of polyurethane.
A few steps. What is this thing about physics?
Painting with polyurethane, covering the carousel with polyurethane, and listening to the radio, of course.
Revolution, because scientists became increasingly obsessed with empiricism, with doing experiments and writing up the results and saying...
Painting's a pain in the neck, but I've decided to match the base with the floor, which is now very dirty, but the base is actually floor paint, and the top several coats of polyurethane. There we are, it's finished. I've painted the top carousel with polyurethane, so it's a very durable top, and I painted the base the same colour as the floor, so I'm hoping it sort of blends right in. The tools are stored on the turntable, I'll show you in a minute, and I've just put 4 different tools in the positions where when my birthday happens. But you can see this is where you stand to work, because there's space for your feet to go in there, so you can work there. And if you're working on this tool, and if you want to change tools, and each one, as you know, has a drawer underneath it, get all your gear. And then if you're finished with that one, go to the third one, and so on. So it's rotating. So you can get four different tools, and the two that I want to start with will be a drill press and a chop saw, and the chop saw actually runs through between these two. The arm of the chop saw, it's designed to allow it to be pulled back and forth, and it goes through there. And then you've seen the power points here. I've got, oops, raining. I've got 6 power points here, which are linked to that point there. And so I've done, and I'll just show you, just give you a show really. This is the final video, and you may remember that underneath there is where you store all of your tools, and they're stored on a turntable which can rotate around. So if there's one at the back, it's like a lazy Susan. To get at this one which is at the back, you just rotate the turntable, and then when you're not using it, you put it in place there and lock it so that it's not in your way when your feet go in there. So that's what it looks like. As I said, the base is the same color as the floor, so hopefully that blends in. And I've just tidied everything up so that you don't see all the mess in the workshop. And I'm very pleased with these drawers. I can't wait to think of things to put into them. And so that's it from me. Turn this thing around, I think, onto myself. So it's been a very rewarding, if not a little bit scary, exercise of making a rotating or revolving tool station, because I never imagined that I would be able to have all of those different kinds of tools in such a small workshop. I don't have the surfaces to put them on. Bye for now.